Says the Tanya. He says that we were talking about love yesterday and how the mitzvot are levush for the neshama. Love, you should know, love for Hashem is the root for all the 248 positive commandments. And love for Hashem will help you do the positive commandments. You notice in the Rambam, the laws of Tefillin, Brit Milah, Sefer Torah, he calls that book called Sefer Ahava. It's called the book of love, which means these mitzvot, positive mitzvot, we show our love to Hashem. Someone who really wants to do exactly what Hashem said, right? Then hu ohevet Hashem. Someone who does exactly what Hashem wants, and according to halacha, the mitzvah that shows he loves Hashem very much. Chavet lidavka bo be'emet. He goes and does it exactly how it's supposed to be done. To really attach to Hashem the proper way. Imagine your father asks you a cup of water, and you know he likes it with ice. So even if he didn't ask for it, but you know how he likes a cup of water usually, right? Or he asks for it with ice. So you go out of your way and you go to the basement to get the ice. Even though you could just get water on the first floor. No, I go to the basement to get ice. Why are you going to the basement? This is the way he likes it. And even though it's uncomfortable for me, I'll go to my way. And I'll do it because I love him. I want to do it the right way. I want to get the ice and give it to him with water with ice. So it's the same thing. A person wants to do a mitzvah. And he says, listen, I'll follow this opinion, this leniency. Okay, I'll do the mitzvah halfway. At least I did the mitzvah. I see a lot of other people, they didn't even come to the mitzvah. I say thank you, at least I came. At least I did half the mitzvah. That's true, that's nice that you came and tried. But real love for Hashem, what would you do? You would do it all the way. You would do it with every single halacha. You would do it to fulfill all the opinions. Why? That shows that you really care and you want to do it the right way. You really love HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because for people who we love, we go out of our way. A guy's wife is pregnant. She has cravings. She said, give me a Slurpee. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Go get me a Slurpee. Now get out of bed, get dressed, wash hands, go in the car, drive over there, come back. It's another half-hour ordeal. I have to go. But if you really love, you have love for that person, you'll go, you make that sacrifice. You wake up in the middle of the night. The lady wakes up in the middle of the night for her kids. The lady who goes all the way to the store to buy the special salad and buy the special fish that her husband likes for Shabbat because she loves him, even though it's a schlep. She'll make it. She'll sit in the kitchen all afternoon to go and make a wonderful dinner, wonderful Shabbat meal for her husband because she loves him. So you see, when you really have enough love for Hashem, then you also be willing to push yourself to do the mitzvot properly. You don't want to do the mitzvot properly. You want to do it your way, the easy way, chili billy way. You need to work on your love for Hashem. What's the best way to attach to Hashem? I want to become close to Hashem. So what? Do you think about Hashem? I should maybe say I love Hashem all day? No. You gotta do the mitzvot. Doing the mitzvot the proper way will attach you to Hashem the most. As it says in the Zohar, that the mitzvot really means tzavta, which means the way to become one. The 613 mitzvot, 613 ways to come close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to become one with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So therefore, a person has to make sure that he does the mitzvot 100%. Okay, now he says of Yoram, he says, Mashal, a person has a pain, an ache in one of his limbs. Let's say his hand or his feet hurt, right? We don't say that you should ignore those pains. You gotta go and take care of them, right? Because eventually it spreads, eventually you won't be able to function. The rest of your body won't be able to do the rest of the day with that pain. So too, you should know the neshama. Neshama has 613 mitzvot, and 248 of them are positive commandments, and 248 limbs physically correspond to the soul. There's 248 spiritual components of the soul as well, corresponding to the 248 physical limbs. So therefore, you should know that if you have an ailment in your body and it can't make you function the rest of your body, so the same thing with neshama. If you don't have one mitzvah that you're supposed to be doing and you constantly leave out that mitzvah, it's going to affect your neshama's performance in its other mitzvot, in its other parts of its life. Just like a guy who has a bad leg. So, okay, I have good arms, I have a good head, I have good ears, so I'll continue with my life. No, but you're dragging along and it's affecting you your whole life. Same thing, your neshama. Okay, I don't do all the mitzvot, I do a few of them. I leave out the other mitzvot, I don't do them. You should know that you will be like with a dead leg, walking around. You'll be not the full person you're supposed to be. You'll be missing something. You'll be lagging behind, not being the full potential of who you are, because you're missing out on that mitzvah. So therefore, it affects the whole body, it affects the whole soul. So therefore, someone who loves HaKadosh Baruch Hu, So then he will go out of his way. Imagine, time for mincha came, right? And you have in that moment exactly, now mincha is going to start getting earlier in the winter. It's going to be in the middle of the day. So what happens? The guy gets the customer walking right when he's supposed to go to mincha. And he said, listen, this guy always spends top dollar here. I should take care of the customer. I'll skip mincha. God will understand. I'm about to make thousands of dollars right now. And what? He'll miss the prayer. He tells you what should he do? If he loves Hashem, what is he going to say? He said, I'm sorry, sir. Can you come back a different time? Even though I know your business is important to me, I have other business that's more important with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Melech Melchei Melachim. And what? He tells you, no, listen, I'm not going to wait. Now or no? Do the deal now or no? What do you have to do? You go in and tell him, okay, Hashem said that on Rosh Hashanah I'm supposed to make a certain amount. Even though you didn't give me now, God will give me a different way. Doesn't have to be this way. Whatever's meant for me, I'm not going to lose. I didn't really lose anything. Maybe you lost some business with me, but I didn't lose any business because God will send me a different. If I deserve it, I deserve it, and therefore I'm going to go to mincha. But what people do, they forget what they're supposed to get on Rosh Hashanah. They think this guy's giving them parnasah, and if I miss this out, I'm never going to get this money. So they say, oh, let me take this deal. God will understand. The mincha, I'll make it up at a different time. Even though you can't make it up. There's no making up the mincha. Maybe tashlumin when you missed ba'onis, but here you purposely missed it. So there's no tashlumin. How are you going to make it up? So therefore a person has to know, losing the business, you didn't lose. Losing the tefillah, you lost. So now a person has to know that this is where you show love for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, person should never give up a mitzvah for money. What as if the money is more important than mitzvah? Imagine a guy comes and tells you, listen, I'll give you $1,000 every single day if you don't wear tefillin. Don't wear tefillin. Let's say whatever, he has an agenda against the religion. Don't wear tefillin, I'll give you $1,000 each day. Every guy would say, well, you're sick? No way, I'm putting on tefillin. No, you don't understand. I'll give you $10,000 every single day. You don't put, just one day, today. Don't put tefillin today, I'll give you $10,000. The guy said, leave me alone. $1 million. Every day you don't wear tefillin. You'll do it? Then people start saying, listen, it's $1 million. I could give it to tzedakah. So then when he starts reasoning, right? The Yitzhar starts getting it. But a guy is supposed to say, what? No. It's worth it for me more than any price in the world. So therefore, how can we do the opposite? How can we ever give up a mincha for a little business deal? How can we ever go to work without praying shahrit because we woke up late? So there, I got to go to work. Shahrit? I don't know. I'll figure out shahrit. I'll put the tefillin later that day. How can we ever give up a shahrit for it to go to work right away? We're putting money on a higher pedestal than the Torah. If someone would ask you, don't give you $10,000, $1 million, not put on tefillin today. You told me you would say no. So how come you do it now and you switch it for mincha, you switch it for work? How could it be? So therefore that's why a person has to remind himself of the love he has for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So he says the Tanya, Shem Ramach Evarin de Malka Keviacho. And this way of attaching to Hashem through the 248 positive commandments, and these 248 commandments are the Evarin of the Malka. They're the limbs of the king, which means that the Tikkun Zohar says that the 248 mitzvot correspond to the 248 limbs of the Melech HaElyon, which means that it's 248 ways to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now is love. Now there's fear. What's the fear? Fear corresponds to 365 negative commandments correspond to having fear of Hashem. So you do positive commandments because you have love for Hashem. You sacrifice for the positive commandments because you love Hashem. But what about, why don't you do the negative transgression? You don't break it. You don't speak Lashon Hara. You don't steal. You don't do immorality. All those things you don't do. Why? Because I fear Hashem. Hashem said not to. I can't go against His word. I fear Him. So therefore He says, when it's called Yirat Shamayim, when a person's fearful of God, he doesn't do sins, right? What does it mean, the fear of Hashem? There's fear of the punishment, go to Gehenom. Then there's fear of the awe of Hashem. How could I go against Hashem? He did so much for me. I'm scared to let Him down, to disappoint Him, right? Let's say a person Yireh Shamayim, right? And then he goes and he tells his wife a small comment, right? And she accepts it with love. Or he tells his kids a small comment that they accept it with love, right? Because Yireh Shamayim, there's this Gula, Rav Yoram says, that people will listen to what you say. People will accept what you say and not argue with you. But if you don't have Yirat Shamayim, So then people, when you tell them something, they'll give you chutzpah back. They'll go and not accept what you say because you don't accept what Hashem says. You don't do what Hashem says. So midah k'neged midah, people don't listen to what you say and they don't accept what you say. They're chutzpah back. So therefore, it's a good sign to see if Hashem holds of your yirat shamayim. There's one thing that Hashem keeps in his storehouse, in his private vault. Right? Hashem owns everything in the world. He has everything. He doesn't need anything from anybody. But one thing he considers very precious, and that is yirat shamayim. Someone who has yirat shamayim. The Gemara says that in his otzar, in his storehouse, he keeps yirat shamayim because everything is in the hand of Hashem except for yirat shamayim. So when he finds somebody who has yirat shamayim, kivyachol, he takes this yirat shamayim and he says, "Wow, psh." So you see this, like a guy who says, "You see my precious watch? You see my precious diamonds?" Like a king, he keeps in his treasure the precious metals, the precious stones. Hashem, he says, "I don't have this all the time. It's up to a person to have this. So when I find it, psh, I put it in my storehouse and say, look at this." I look at it and stare at Abraham's yirat shamayim, at Moshe's yirat shamayim, Shlomo's yirat shamayim. Like whoever the guy is, he looks at it and Hashem gets such a hana from this, such a pleasure from seeing this person's yirat shamayim. So therefore, he says in the Tanya, a person's afraid to rebel against the king by not doing his will. And then there's more than this. Oh, yira pnimit shemitboshesh migdulato lamrot enei kvodo. Or a higher level, he's embarrassed from his greatness, the awe that I don't want to go and ruin his eyes, showing him these horrible things I'm doing. Let's imagine a person standing in front of a big rabbi. You would go and speak like this in front of your big rabbi. You would go and act like this in front of your big rabbi. So how can you act like this in front of Kadosh Baruch Hu? So you have to remember that you're always in front of him. And that way, you'll be embarrassed. How could I do that in front of him? How could I go and do the bad in front of him? All the abominations of Hashem that he hates. Hashem says clearly in Torah, he hates it. How can I go and do it in front of him? I'll be embarrassed. And you should know, when you go and transgress one of the 365 negative commandments, that's how you feed the Sitra Achra. You feed the Klippa, you give them life force. Because when a person, Chas v'Shalom, transgress, he ate something not allowed, he was immoral, he ate something not kosher, he stole, whatever it was, you should know that he goes and he gives part of his soul to the Klippa. And he fed them, and this Klippa gets stronger and more deen in the world, more judgment in the world. Every Averat, even the hatred you have in your heart towards another Jew, God forbid, mahloket that you make with another Jew, even the Torah you learn, Chas v'Shalom, can now be feeding the Sitra Achra. That's why we said, according to Kabbalah, you're supposed to say Shem Yehud. Shem Yehud makes it, even if you did a sin and you're attached to Klippa and you didn't do a Shuvah yet, so now when even mitzvot that you do, feed the Sitra Achra. Even positive commandments you do could feed. For sure, when you do break the negative command, you feed. But now even the mitzvah, the prayer, and the learning you did also feeds. Yeah, that's why you got to make the shuvah, cut yourself off from there, from the Sitra Achra, and you got to say L'Shem Yehud in order that you're uplifting the sparks to Sitra de Kedusha. L'Shem Yehud Kudsha B'Ruchu. So go to the Shem, and not the Sitra Achra. And that way, it doesn't feed the Sitra Achra when you do a positive commandment. These three clothings that we mentioned, right? For the soul, the speech, the act, and the thought, including the Torah and the Mitzvot, even though they're called even though they're called the clothing for the soul, usually the clothes is less expensive than the body. The body is more valuable than the clothes. But here you should know the thought, the act, and the speech of a person is really higher. These ma'alot, this levush is really higher in a way than the nefesh, ruach, neshama. The Torah and Hashem and the Jewish people, they're all considered really one. They're all attached to each other. So therefore that means, Perush, Deoraiti Chochmato, רצונו של הקדוש ברוך הוא, והקדוש ברוך הוא כבודו עצמו כולו אחד, כי יודע הוא המדע, כמו שנתבהר לב בשם רמב"ם. So if you think like the Torah, and you do the Torah, and you speak about the Torah in the mitzvot, you're really talking about Hashem and thinking about Hashem and interacting with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So really, your neshama, ruach, neshama, nefesh, That's part of you, and that's apart from Hashem. You got a part of your soul from Hashem, but that's you. But then your speech and your actions and your thoughts that are doing mitzvot, they're actually, the mitzvot are part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so they're a higher level than your soul. Your soul is you, and your thoughts are really HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So therefore, they attach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu directly when you're thinking, doing, and speaking about the mitzvot. So therefore, a person has to know that we have to work on our fear for Hashem, our love for Hashem. You have to not leave out one mitzvah. You can't be like those people who pick and choose. I do some mitzvot, I don't. Either you're in, you do all of it, or you're out, you do none of it. Doesn't mean, oh, Rabbi, I only do halfway, so I'll go and do nothing. No. If you do half, now do the other half, do all of it. Baruch Adonai Olam.